Each year in the United States, thousands of major crimes go unsolved. When the case has gone cold and police have nowhere to turn, they seek assistance from the public. This is a program dedicated to solving these cases. This is Crime Stoppers Case Files.
Welcome to Crime Stoppers, South Florida Case Files. I'm Dick Maston, the director of Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers. The purpose of this program is to share unsolved cases with as many South Florida viewers as possible, empowering you to do something about the violence on our streets. Every case we feature is unsolved. Every case we feature has a cash reward available. In other words, every case we feature is an opportunity for you to help your community and at the same time earn Crime Stoppers cash without even giving your name. Now let's get started. On October the 18th, 2009, 58-year-old Antonio Tovar was ambushed and shot as he left a family member's home. He was well known for his solid gold necklace, said to be valued in the tens of thousands of dollars. The thieves wanted that necklace. Here's the story.
Ay, no te puedo decir nada malo porque tú eres un alma de Dios.
Bueno, de Tony, de Antonio Tovar, lo único que puedo decir son cosas buenas nada más porque es una persona maravillosa.
Ese no era un hermano, sino un hijo. Eso era un alma que no tenía nada de él.
Se va bien con todo el mundo, nunca le hizo mal a nadie, siempre ayudando al prójimo.
Ay, bien, aquí extrañándolo mucho. Esa era mi vida.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
3805 West 8th Wing.
Okay, and what's going on there, ma'am?
Okay, there was more than 6 shots, and there's a man on the floor, and he's breathing, but I don't know if he's okay.
Did you see who shot him?
No, there were 3 men who were covered. 3 or 4 men who were covered.
Do you see them leave in a car or on foot?
They were on foot.
Okay, we already have the officers on the way, okay? If anything changes, call us back and stay inside, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
On October 19th, 2009, officers were dispatched to an area within Mango Hill development in HIALEAH. Officers arrived to find a male who had sustained gunshots throughout the body. We soon discovered the male had been a victim of a botched robbery. Our victim, Antonio Tovar, was here visiting family from New Jersey. At about 9:30 at night, that visit ceased. Our victim exited the house and proceeded to say goodbye to family members. Little did he know there were 2 to 3 males waiting for him outside to ambush him. As he walked to the car, those males approached and tried to take the gold chain he was wearing. A struggle ensued. The family member within the car exited the car to assist our victim. Inadvertently, he left the car in reverse, causing the car to drive away unattended. At this time, one of the offenders produced a handgun and shot our victim. After the shooting, our subjects ran past the relative that was inside the house at one point. That person had the mindset to grab one of the offenders by the shirt. That offender turned around and blindly cranked a shot, hit by the projectile, but luckily it was just a flesh wound. Our subjects ran through the grassy field located just north of our location and disappeared. The family member who was driving tried to stop the car to no avail and returned to find the victim dying on the floor.
Bueno, ese día, da la casualidad que yo estaba con él, yo, mi esposa y mis 2 niños. Fue un día fatal. Fuimos a hacer una visita de una prima de él que había venido de Cuba y nos pasamos toda la tarde ahí, fuimos por la tarde y entonces después que comimos, sobre las 9:30 salimos, y cuando salimos fue que se presentó el problema que se presentó y fuimos asaltados por 3 personas. Cuando salimos de la casa, le dieron 2 tiros y lo mataron frente de mis niños, de mi esposa y de la familia que estaba ahí.
Me quitó pedazos de mi vida. No me puedo adaptar a vivir sin él.
¿Tú me entiendes? Pasamos por ese momento y fue muy duro y sigue siendo duro, ¿entiendes? Porque estamos recordando porque eso nunca se va a olvidar.
Our shooting took place within a cluster of townhomes. It's a densely populated area. The shooting happened at about 9:30, leading us to believe There was some activity. There's plenty of traffic in and out, and we feel someone saw something. After our exhaustive investigation, we still don't know who these defenders are. We know there are 2 to 3 black males wearing dark clothing, obviously armed with a firearm. The medallion and chain taken in this case were unique. The medallion was considerable in size, the chain was thick. The medallion had a religious figure on it. Someone, we feel, has seen it. Either it's been taken somewhere to get melted or shown to somebody else. Anyone with information can contact the HIALEAH Police Department at 305-687-2525, or you can call Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS and remain anonymous.
Y lo que quiere él no se ha generado eso que lo mataron. Así que yo creo que encuentren el asesino ese, para estar tranquilo aunque sea.
Bueno, tuvieron un poco más de tranquilidad nosotros, por lo menos, tú sabes, podríamos estar más en paz, más allá para saber quién fue la persona que hizo eso, ¿entiendes?
In the murder of 58-year-old Antonio Tovar, police are looking for 2 to 3 black males who were wearing dark clothing. They would also like to speak with anyone who might have seen his necklace. If you have any information that could help investigators, call Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS. You will, as always, remain anonymous and be eligible for a cash reward.
In 1975, the first Crime Stoppers organization was formed by a detective who believed media attention helped solve cases. Since then, thousands of Crime Stoppers organizations have been formed around the globe with the same mission, encouraging members of the public to stand up against crime. Every 14 minutes, Crime Stoppers help solve a crime somewhere in the world. Get involved. Contact your Crime Stoppers organization and learn how you can help. Leave a tip, crimestoppersone.com.
On March the 7th, 2011, 32-year-old Andre Lowe and 30-year-old Kevar Bain were kidnapped near a restaurant on Hallandale Beach Boulevard. Hours later, they were executed behind an abandoned house in Little Haiti. Here's the story.
He was the middle child. It's 3 of us. And he grew up with my grandma, but eventually he came to live back with us when my mom started working as a nurse. So he was more like my father, you know. My father wasn't around, and he raised me while my mom was working and helped me provide for the family. So everything I really know is because of him.
I met him in the end of 1999, and we got married in 2000. We were married for, before he passed, I would say almost 11 years. And we had 2 kids. My son loved him. I mean, there's nobody else better than his dad. And he was just a great father.
He was real cool, real laid back. Really didn't like to talk too much, but he was still smart. He caught on to things very, very fast.
Well, in the family, he was the more laid back person. I'm more tight, and he's always calm and cool. He was great with the children.
Everybody loved him. Everybody loved him, no matter what. No matter if he did something good, no matter if he did something bad. You know, everybody was just there to support him, and you know, he would really be missed.
He was born December 14, 1978. He had to stay in the hospital 11 days, so he came home in the Christmas stocking. So that was like my Christmas present. He was nothing but a bundle of joy.
When I was growing up, he was always younger than me, so I was like his protector and stuff like that.
Well, my uncle, he was a great person. He had a warm heart. He did anything for anybody. He treated me like his own daughter. He just was a great guy in whole.
He came up in church, and he went to Christian school. He played sports. He was such a loving child.
He was always the life of the party. Everywhere he went, everybody knew him, and even if it's, you know, he went to South Beach or other celebrities, you know, he knew a lot of people.
He was such a happy person, and everyone that he touched, he had such an impact on their life, even to now.
On March 8, 2011, at approximately 7:44 a.m., City of Miami police units were dispatched to the area of 570 Northwest 67th Street. Young children on the way to school found 2 dead bodies in the back of that residence. Throughout the course of the investigation, we found out the identity of both victims to be Kevar Bain and Andre Lowe. What we have so far is that both victims were seen in the area of 1020 West Hallandale Beach Boulevard at the IHOP. It is believed that approximately 6 to 6:30, both victims arrived at the area of the IHOP in different vehicles. At one point throughout the evening, victim Kevar Bain was seen leaving the area of the IHOP with an unknown black male. That was the last time he was seen. Victim Andre Lowe was last seen entering a gray Infiniti FX35 SUV. That was the last time he was seen. We also believe that at one point both victims reunited in the area of the IHOP involuntarily. We believe that they were kidnapped from the area of the IHOP, taken on a journey throughout the Liberty City, HIALEAH, Overtown area, eventually ending up in Little Haiti. We believe that both victims were tied up prior to them being transported to the Little Haiti area. We believe when they got to 570 Northwest 67th Street, they were forcibly taken out of the vehicle, dragged to the back of the house, beaten, and eventually executed behind 570 Northwest 67th Street.
The day I actually found out, I was on the phone with all his friends. No one knew anything. 5 minutes later, the same friend called me back and said that they found his body. It was one of the hardest things that I ever had to go through because I had to pick up the kids from school and I'm crying and crying and crying and crying and I couldn't let my kids see what I was crying for. It's more like surreal. You hear it, but because you really haven't got any chance to think about it yet, when I hit the block on his mother's house and I saw all the cars out there, that's when I knew that this is real. First thing I was thinking, how I'm gonna tell my kids that their father isn't coming home anymore.
I had spoke to my son earlier about 507. I had that 12-bit boxes for him. I'm waiting for him to come pick up the boxes. So by 8:30, I started calling him to find out why he wasn't coming. So I kept calling him up until about 2 o'clock in the morning. So right then, I had like an urgency because I know something was wrong because my son was so dependable. He said, Mom, I know it's kind of getting late. I'll pick him up tomorrow. But he didn't come by. That morning, I went to start looking for him. I called my son, he was at work. I said, call his friend, see why haven't anybody heard from him, but nobody heard from him. And right then, I know something was wrong right there.
My mom called me probably around, I'd say like maybe after 7. So I called a couple of friends, see if they heard from him, and we ended up calling the detectives. And my mom, along with one of his friends, found the car at the IHOP, and that's when I left my job, probably around, I think it was like 11:48. And I headed over to the IHOP in Hallandale, and that's where we found the car.
Welcome back to Crime Stoppers, South Florida Case Files. We now return to the case of the kidnapping and murders of Andre Lowe and Kevar Bain.
On March 7, 2011 at approximately 6:30, victims Kevar Bain and Andre Lowe were kidnapped from the area of 1020 West Hallandale Beach Boulevard. They were transported to the Little Haiti area where they were bound, beaten, and killed. We have witness testimony stating to the fact that they observed a gold-colored vehicle fleeing the area just prior to shots being heard in the area, approximately 12 o'clock midnight. What we have is possibly 3 black males, one of which was last seen walking away from the IHOP area with the victim Kevar Bain. The other 2 remain inside the gray Infiniti, in which victim Andre Lowe was last seen getting into. The Infiniti is a newer model, gray in color FX35 SUV type vehicle. It has approximately 27 and 26-inch rims. The rims match the color of the paint of the vehicle. What's unusual about it is that it has a large satellite antenna on the top of the vehicle.
They took a lot. They took my brother, they took my father, they took my friend, they took my study buddy. You know, they took everything, everything.
Like, how could you upset so many people's lives and take away a father to 2 kids that loved him so much?
Like shock, it's like a dream because we have never had to deal with nothing like this. It changed my life and I'm thinking about my son every day.
It's like it's a big void in my life because it was always just us 2, and you know, his family members, you know, everybody miss him. It's like it's a bad dream.
Every night I go to bed, I have to cry myself to sleep because I don't know what happened to him.
I would want to know, how could you? Like, how could you upset so many people's lives and take away a father to 2 kids that loved him so much?
And you know something, please come forward and because that person who did this, you know, they don't have no regard for nobody's life. It could be your family next time.
Imagine if it was your brother and that's the only brother you had, you know, you would want somebody to call Crime Stoppers and tell them whatever they know.
What we're asking the community to do is come together and report anything that they may have heard or seen regarding this case. Call my office at 305-603-6350 or call Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS.
Andre Lowe and Kevar Bain were kidnapped in broad daylight, driven miles away, tied up, beaten, and executed with their bodies left for school children to find the next morning. When are we going to say enough is enough? Let's start making a difference right now. Let's take these killers off the streets. If you have information that could help investigators, call Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS. You'll remain anonymous and be eligible for a cash reward. Welcome back to Crime Stoppers, South Florida Case Files. I'm Dick Maston. It's been proven that programs such as ours solve crimes after several airings of a case. With that in mind, we'd like to quickly review a few cases that we've featured on past episodes. On December the 4th, 2009, 54-year-old Carol Taylor was having her hair done at a friend's home near 170th Street in Miami Gardens. When she left the hairdresser, she was targeted by a killer wielding an AK-47.
It appears that Carol had just pulled to the T intersection located at Northwest 38th Court and Northwest 170th Street. She was actually traveling eastbound. As soon as she had continued forward from her stop, she was confronted by a red vehicle that had rapidly accelerated in front of her vehicle as she had already attempted to drive into the intersection. The suspect makes his way towards the passenger side of Carol's vehicle and starts shooting multiple shots into the passenger side of Carol's car. Ms. Taylor was hit, unfortunately fatally, with the projectiles that were shot into the passenger side of her car. The suspect was described as a tall, thin black male. The suspect was said to be driving a red Pontiac, either G6 or Grand Prix or something similar. My name is Detective David Noble with the City of Miami Gardens Police Department, and the direct line to my office is 305-474-1566.
Early on the morning of May 14th, 2011, Macario Ordonez and a friend were walking home from a club when they were approached in an attempted robbery. Here's the story.
On May 14th, 2011, at approximately 4:50, 4:55 in the morning, in the area of Northwest 8th Avenue and 29th Street, I have two victims that were hanging out at a local bar named La Rosa. My victim, Macario Ordonez, was walking with his friend. They were going home. They were walking westbound on 29th Street, approaching 8th Avenue. And once they made it a block away, they were encountered by four black males. The offender approached the victims and with a gun in his hand, told them, money. One of the victims told him, no money, no money, and he ran. The other victim remained. When they had nothing to give to the offender, the victim was shot several times, very close range. According to a witness, some of the males ran in one direction and one male ran towards a dark-colored minivan and left the area, and the other males fled northbound from the scene. Police and rescue immediately responded to the area, the main offender in this situation. He's described as a black male, about 5'6", 5'7", heavy set, wearing dark clothing. The three black males were seen running northbound from the area. They're just described as younger black males in their 20s, wearing dark clothing and thin. You can contact myself, Detective Frank Sanchez, at 305-603-6350, or the Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers, 305-471-TIPS.
Crime Stoppers of Miami-Dade has one goal: to make the streets safer for law-abiding citizens by solving cases and capturing criminals. To learn more about your local Crime Stoppers, become a fan on Facebook or log on to crimestoppersmiami.com. Now, I'm Dick Maston. Be sure to join us next week for another episode of Crime Stoppers Case Files.